estate, oh, real estate. There are so many TV and reality shows, books, and websites about people that have made their fortune in real estate. Hi, I'm Jennifer McCumber, author of Freedom 5, feature columnist for ED Publications, and I'm leading the movement for exotic dancer education all over the world. Unfortunately, at best, these real estate reports leave out some of the important details so you don't get the whole story. In other words, what is portrayed to be easy money really isn't so easy after learning all the facts. Now, Charlie from Colorado blogged in and asked the following. I'm a successful exotic dancer, and I've saved my money for a rainy day, but I'm wondering where to put my money so that I can make some extra income or even eventually get out of exotic dancing. I know with the economy down right now, it's a good time to buy. Should I invest in real estate as an exotic dancer right now to make a quick buck? Or will I be waiting 30 years to cash in on my profits? Now that is a very well put and good question, because you see, real estate stories tend to focus on the very few that actually make it in real estate, and they fail to report the thousands of folks that lose their shirts. Now hold on, I didn't say you can't make money in real estate, but in 999 out of 1,000 times, it is a result of very hard work, being very patient, and having the skill set to stomach the volatility of the real estate market. Yes, real estate values in most cases will rise in the long run, 40 years or more. But this is where people get sidetracked. Now here is the big myth. For instance, my husband John grew up in San Jose, California, just south of San Francisco. The housing market in this region is some of the most expensive real estate in the United States. Most people in the US are familiar with some of the fortunes made in this hot, volatile real estate market. Now, you've heard stories like the following. Houses were appreciating $3,000, $4,000, and $5,000 per day. You've heard stories like a man buying a house for $100,000 and 8 months later selling it for $1 million. People having strangers knocking at their front door daily with offers to buy their house. Well, these stories are all true, but here's what they didn't tell you. Not many people actually capitalized on the big upswings in the market because, well, number one, if you sell your house at the top of the market, you'll have to buy another house at the top of the market, or top of the market, rent a place to live, which is not very convenient, and people typically don't like moving. Number two, in a saturated market, banks resorted to ARM, or, well, adjustable real estate mortgages, and other creative types of financing. This helped create the situation in which people would buy a house that they could not afford. People became financially overwhelmed with their house payments when the real estate market collapsed, and foreclosures began to occur because of lack of capital. The stock market collapsed, people lost their jobs, and then they couldn't pay their mortgage. Now, there are many other bad scenarios that happened, but you get the idea by now. There were a few people who did well selling their homes, mostly retired people, and they relocated to Nevada for a fourth of the price. Now, this was highly reported in the media, but actually was a rare solution for a very few people. The bottom line is, how many people have really made it in real estate, in the real estate market, compared to people who've been burned? Of those who made money in real estate, how many have made a quick buck this way? Now, it's a little different when you look at it that way, isn't it? So the question is, who are the ones that make it in real estate? And is there hope? Typically, they are usually either large firms or people with lots of capital. They could be individuals that have been studying the market for a long time and were waiting to pounce on the opportunity. They could even be individuals that are extremely wealthy, meaning making over $1 million a year, that need the tax write-off for a second, third, or fifth home, if you will. And also individuals that inherited real estate. Now, we've all heard of the individual that owns 10 properties and gets checks in the mail every month and life is just grand. Now, here's what they don't tell you about buying property as an investment. Things are great when the economy is good and all of your tenants are paying their rent. But what happens when people lose their jobs? Well, they move out and your rental income is gone. Your properties go into foreclosure because you no longer have enough income to pay your mortgages, including the mortgage you own on your own residence. So what if you ask, well, what if I'm well diversified? Now we're talking. Real estate could be one of the many different quote-unquote arrows in your investment quiver. However, it should not represent a significant portion of your portfolio unless you're a seasoned pro with lots of capital, because the real estate market is volatile. You have to be able to take the hits. Now, remember what happened with the last big stock market boom. A lot of young and otherwise bright investors put most of their assets into tech stocks and then lost everything when the market became saturated and tech stocks plummeted. Now, these investors thought that because they were successful in one industry that they could just invest in the going trend with little or no research into details of individual companies within that booming sector and make money. And then the sector cratered, and everybody sank all together. The same patterns work or fail with real estate. The quickest way to get yourself unrich quick is not understanding what you're doing. Jumping into one or two bad real estate deals and then watching your many years of hard-earned savings from working in the club absolutely vanish. You have to be able to withstand this kind of loss without losing everything. This is why you want to invest only a small portion, perhaps less than 10% of your total assets, in real estate ventures. Now, if you are well diversified, it is probably okay for you to invest in real estate. Just be sure you really understand what you're doing. Making money is hard. Now, spending it is far too easy. Make wise spending choices. So step 1, assess your financial requirements and goals. Do you need a steady stream of income from your rental? Or do you plan on selling it for a profit in a couple of years? If it's the latter, look for lower priced property that you can fix up as you rent it out. And number 2, consider being a resident landlord by purchasing a multi-unit property and living in one apartment. In many cases, the income from the other units will cover your own mortgage payment, allowing you to effectively live for free. Selling or being on site has other advantages, including ensuring that the property is well maintained. And lastly, step 3, you have to decide if you want to do maintenance yourself. If you have the skills, the equipment, and temperament to deal with upset tenants and a backed up toilet at 2 a.m., then you're fine. Now, there are a total of 15 steps that we talk about in Freedom 5 that go into detail if you're really interested in capitalizing on real estate that you absolutely need to know. So without further ado, go check them out and you'll be all set for capitalizing on real estate. Now, your feedback is very important to us. Please comment on the blog below with any questions or concerns that you have. Strippers from around the world are bound to chime in on the discussion. You can even find more in-depth videos, education, and training on our blog under the following categories in the navigation bar: Freedom 5 and Champagne Inner Circle. This is Jennifer McCumber here, wishing you the best of success.